right, there we go. We're started. Guys, what's up? It's Unrested here, and this is my first rambling video. And I still haven't come up with a title for it. Unrested Ramblings. You are Unrested Ramblings relentlessly. Unrested's relentless ramblings. URR? Maybe we'll call it that. That sounds good. You guys had some great title ideas there. One was No Eyes or Eyes Free. Yeah, I liked that one, and I liked a couple others there. I really want to thank you guys for participating in that, helping me name the show. I'll probably come up with a title after this. I don't have any winner to declare. I think everybody did a great job, and I really appreciate everybody. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a new video type series I'm doing, which is kind of like a mix between J-Vlog and J-News, so I guess it isn't that new. You don't necessarily need to watch the video screen. The video screen sounds very 1990s. You don't need to watch your monitor or your computer or the video. You can just listen to me ramble. I'm just going to talk about a little bit of everything from news from Japan to news around the world to just what I'm up to recently, maybe future videos that I'm working on, some future collabs, upcoming events like the YouTube Hanami Party. In the background, you'll probably hear my son a bunch. And the quality of video and sound's not going to be that great because this is just raw, unrested talking into the camera with no agenda in mind. And just to give those who want to have a chance to listen to me ramble, listen to me ramble. Why am I doing this? Well, number one, it is a good chance for me to just talk English in all its glory. I don't really get to do that too much in Japan. I think a lot of people don't understand that you don't get to use the full amount of your English when you talk. Like, you don't get to use your bigger words, your metaphors, or even things relating to shows that you watched when you were younger. Like, if I make a movie reference of a movie that I watched when I was younger, or a TV show from America, or an English TV show, it's totally lost on everyone in Japan. So I get to make that to you. Not that I'm going to be constantly making references. As of right now, this is kind of like the screen type setup I've got here. It kind of sucks. I'll probably improve it with future videos. I've got Osroshi in the background, but this is obviously not an Osroshi video. Although maybe I'll talk about some scary stuff. Oh, actually I will. You know what? Let's jump right into that first. What is Unrested working on? I guess this is one part where you might want to look at the screen. I'm working on a video with another YouTuber. He's not a J-vlogger, he's a YouTuber. It's Japan's Scariest Demons, and it's a list of, I don't know, we're thinking either top 15 or top 30 scariest demons. Some of the ones I've drawn so far are Tsuchigumo, which is like also known as the earth spider or the spider of dirt. A really cool one, Futakuchi Onna, which some of these are, I think they're more rare. They're not the most common ones that you know of. Futakuchi Onna is a woman who has like a symbiotic mouth and set of eyes in the back of her head. Very elementary school-esque. We got Baku the Dream Eater, Dorotabo, the Rice Field Corpse, Akaname, the Eater of Dead Skin. That's Akaname, in case you guys are wondering. He eats dead skin out of your bathtub. That's why he's inside of a bathtub. So, but I don't want to tell you too much about each demon, because then what's the point of you watching the top 15 or 30 scariest demons from Japan? Yokai specifically. We are thinking we will possibly do a top yokai, a top yurei, which is like ghosts, if you don't know, and maybe like urban legends monsters too, because there's some that are kind of like in this gray area with urban legends, like, as I've talked about many times, Kuchisake Onna, and there's also another one you probably don't know of, the Bear Woman, Kuma Onna, as opposed to Kumo Onna, the Spider Woman. Yes, there's actually a Bear Woman and a Spider Woman. And Kuma is bear, Kumo is spider, in case you were wondering there. They're very, very different. The Spider Woman's kind of like this very Edo-era sexist vision of the demonic female that poisons the male, which is very old-timey and archaic, but exists from that time, and that doesn't mean we need to scrap it. And then Kuma Onna, the Bear Woman, is this really strange urban legend one where she's like a woman who is dressed in like all these rags and stuff from the street. She's used to be really rich, but now she's homeless, and she still craves her rich lifestyle, so she'll hunt you down on the street and take expensive jewelry from you. And, like, by taking it, she'll like cut off whatever part of body it's connected to. So if you have a necklace, your head gets cut off. You've got a ring, your finger gets cut off. If you've got a bracelet, your hand gets cut off. That type of thing. So she's pretty gruesome too, but she's not a demon. She's actually an urban legend because obviously, you know, homeless lady in Japan on the street stealing expensive jewelry doesn't sound very Edo era. So that's where we've got to kind of break it down and go in this sort of dichotomy with different types of clarifications of what monster is what and where, and it makes it more fun and makes it easier to classify the video, because if you're just like, oh, kaibutsu, which means like just monsters from Japan, like you're like, well, is the monster a ghost, is the monster a demon, so we like to be a little bit more specific. Other thing I'm working on, something I'm always kind of working on, is juggling. I don't know if you guys know, but I practice juggling a lot. Let's see if I can talk to you while I juggle. Yeah, I practice juggling a lot. Probably at least once a day. I try to get in a couple minutes of juggling. It's kind of just an extra hobby I picked up from teaching English. A lot of times I teach kids lessons, and one of the easiest ways to teach kids lessons is not make it actual lessons. I just dropped one. But what I do is I actually draw an animal on the ball, and so I stop. When they say stop, I stop juggling and I hold and I say, what animal is in? Snake. And this one was, it's kind of falling apart now because I've been using this for a while and I drew it on. It's an elephant and a lion. You can see I've been practicing for a while. Two different things I practice doing, one-handed juggling with two balls, like this. Whoops. See, I'm getting performance anxiety right now. It's hard because you want to look at the camera, but you're juggling, and if you look at the camera, you screw yourself up. So I gotta just pretend you're not there. There you go. And then my biggest feat, and you're gonna just watch this and be like, wow, that's not impressive at all, is being able to do it with my left hand. That's really hard. So, and then I can actually do it quite a bit longer if I have time to warm up. I didn't really warm up. Yeah, there you go. You see I'm going a little bit longer this time. So you can see I can actually go for a while. Juggling 3 is actually much easier than juggling 2 in one hand. Juggling 3 with 2 hands, easier than 2 in one hand. At least for me. I don't know, maybe other people feel different. Left hand, very difficult. Right away they start to get away from me. I start to go off screen. So, and I'm trying to do both hands at one time, which I can only get a little bit, like, very, very difficult. So that's my other thing. I'm trying to do 2 at one time, and eventually get into juggling 4 balls. Like I said, 3 is not so hard. 3 I can probably go a really long time. I could probably go almost, I don't know, a good 10, 15 minutes, I think is the longest I've ever done this for. I'm not going to try and do it for the whole video because I think eventually the little rattling of the balls would start to wear on people. If you're wondering what these balls are, they're actually ball pit balls like you would have in like a playland or like a McDonald's play area or a Chuck E. Cheese's. And then I filled them up with acorns to give them a little bit of weight, but make it so they won't hurt my hands when I hit my hands. Because sometimes I do little tricks with the balls too, like, I don't know if you can see. Like that. I do kind of stuff like that. So I like to do little tricks with them in the meantime so that, yeah, it's not always juggling. Because juggling would eventually get boring. Even little kids would get bored of that. But juggling really keeps them focused on what you're actually doing, and then you can stop the ball and be like, what is it? What animal? And then they'll be like, oh. And, you know, keeps their mind really active. If you just sit there with cards, you're like, broccoli, carrot, you know, just go through vegetables really slow. If you have them on juggling balls, they're going to be like, whoa! So that's my teaching style. I also do magic tricks too. I try to do like magic tricks to teach them. Like if you're teaching them colors, instead of just being like, here's some cards, look at it's red, green, blue, black, I'll do the kind of magic trick where like you have a handkerchief and they stuff it into something, and the next time they pull it out, all these color handkerchiefs come out, and then they can name the colors as the handkerchiefs come out. A little more interesting than just being like, oh, just say these cards, because mostly I'm teaching 1, 2, and 3-year-olds. They would get really bored. As for the drawing, well, I guess you saw what I'm doing recently with drawing. A lot of my job stuff, people always ask me to show my job drawings, but I'm actually written into contracts where I can't show you that stuff until the publication comes out. And then even then, I'm not always allowed to share it because some have total rights to it. Like if someone else copied the picture that I had and used it in something else, they could actually go after them. I wouldn't personally because I've signed those rights over to them to the pictures. But some have them for a total of 2 years, some have them for 5 years, some have them for infinite time if they want to pay for that. Some of them I receive royalties from, some I do not. But that's why I never show those on there if you were wondering about that. Let's see, other things going on right now. My son just had his Hop Yokai. If you're wondering, most people are like, isn't Hop Yokai only December? Oh, and if you're wondering what Hop Yokai is, it's like a end of the year play or a middle of the year play. Usually a Christmas play and then a graduation play. And he's not graduating yet. He's not graduating any sort of school yet. He's going into his second year of kindergarten. There's actually, if I'm correct, 4 years of kindergarten for him, K1 till K4. Might be only K3 actually. I might be wrong. I should probably know. I work with kids in Youqian. Yeah, I guess you know what? In our Youqian, there's 4 levels, but the first level is called N1 and N2 preschool level, and then it goes K1, K2, K3. So I guess there is 4 levels. I am correct. If you want to count the preschool levels. He's going into his second. He's going actually into K2, which would actually be his 3rd year, I suppose. Yeah, because he's finished preschool, he's finished K1, and he'll go into K2. So he'll be starting his 3rd year. And he had a play for that, and his play was this Hawaiian tropical theme play. It was cool. He did really good dancing. I was really surprised because I've got not a single good dancing bone in my body. If you want to talk about someone with little to no rhythm, it's me. I'm a very bad singer and a very bad dancer. Those are 2 things I've never really excelled at. Although I do have to sing kids songs every day. They don't really require a huge range though because, you know, little kids. That being said, I thought something else we'd also look at today for my rambling video that's just going on and on is some news. I like talking about the news. I read a couple different types of news every day. International news, Japan news, sometimes Australian news, and Singapore news. Why Singapore? It's kind of an odd reason, actually. If I put in Yahoo News for my iPhone to come up on Yahoo's page every day, for some reason it won't bring up the Japanese news in English. It'll bring up the Singapore news as the closest English Asian news, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. I guess because my phone's set to English, so it reads that. I don't know exactly how it works. Anyway, sad story here. They just caught this dude. He was 22 years old. He killed an 11-year-old kid who was just like walking home, and they don't know why he did it yet or anything like that. Let's see what it says. 22-year-old man held over murder of 11-year-old boy in Wakayama. Wakayama is a really safe area too. It's like a country area, so it's really crazy that it happened out there. It's such a boring area. Let's see. Police in Kinokawa, Wakayama Prefecture arrested a 22-year-old man early Saturday on suspicion of fatally stabbing an 11-year-old boy as he walked home. The boy, Toshi Morita, was attacked a few hundred meters from his school at around 4 p.m. So sad. A local resident called 119, that's 911 here in Japan, for you who don't know. Speaking at an early morning news conference, police identified the suspect as Oshu Nakamura. Huh? I'm right here, buddy. If you need anything, just come in and tell me. Okay? I think one of his toys went under the couch. What? No, Kenny's not home yet. He's waiting for his brother to come home. His brother spent the night at his cousin's house. So, like I said, interruptions in the middle of it, but I'm not going to apologize for that. Let's see. Morita was airlifted to the hospital by a helicopter, but died shortly after. So sad, man. He had 10 wounds on his body. The guy stabbed him 10 times. I don't know why someone would do that. Let's see here. Bill to be submitted to lower voting age from 20 to 18. That's a good one. That's pretty interesting. That's because absolutely no young people want to get involved in politics, because all the politics tend to rotate around elderly people, and no one takes care of young people in Japan anymore, as far as politicians are concerned. I'm not saying parents don't, I'm saying politicians. yet they continue to beg them to have babies. Yet they'll give them no money to have babies or any kind of implemented bonuses or anything for having babies. They're just like, just have babies. Come on, just do it. I know you'll not be able to work a job because we don't have enough kindergartens to send them to, but you should have babies. It's kind of funny. And you know what's the sad part about it? Like, I guess this is a good time to talk about babies because Victor just had a baby. I have 2 kids, in case you didn't know. And one of the things that kind of pisses me off, this really pisses me off, something I'll just talk about real quick, because this is kind of how I wanted the video to go. I wanted something to spur my talking tongue into talking about an issue that bothers me. Old people in Japan who bug you to have more kids. This is pretty common. Probably any of you who have kids in Japan, especially women who have kids, whether they be Gaijin or Japanese, have been bugged by old men to have more kids. I can't tell you how many times while my wife was pregnant that like old taxi drivers who like, you always use a taxi in Japan to get around different places, or if we just went into a place where an old person was serving us, they'd be like, oh, I see you're pregnant. You should keep having more babies after that one. Keep on having more babies. And even after you've had 2 kids, like they would be like, so when are you going to have your next baby? And it's like, well, are you going to pay for my next baby? Like, do you know how expensive it is these days? 22 million yen to send a kid from kindergarten all the way up to college. On average, 22 million yen. So you're looking at, that's like 220,000 American dollars. So it's like you're buying a pretty nice used house or something, like a broken down fixer-upper house. So they'll bug you. They'll tell you, hey, you should have more kids, and to better Japan and have more kids for Japan. But all the time they're asking for things like getting, kindergartens aren't filled up, aren't big enough to take on all the people who are trying to send their kids. There's like parks that are getting ripped out of neighborhoods because old people are angry that they're too loud. So it's like, what do you want? You want the best of both worlds? You want everything to not be kid friendly, but everybody to have kids? It's really bullshit. It's something that really makes me angry about Japan. Japan, otherwise, very nice place. Old people, very polite, very cordial. Just something I kind of pick on them for because they constantly bother you about it. All right, let's take a look at some other stuff going on. Actually, you know what? Like I said, I want to get outside of the Japanese news. Let's take a look at the world news. I'm sure there's stories. You see, the thing is, I read so many different stories that I don't know which one to go after first. And actually, today I have not read the American or international news. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right, Yahoo News is what I go to. It may suck, but whatever. I grew up on that with the internet. All right, drug smuggler set free. Don't know anything about that. Shooting at PA shopping mall. Oh God, another shooting in America. So this is where I talk about. I always say like every country has its dark side. I can't deny my own country has its dark side with all these shootings constantly happen. Let's see. Bieber auction blowout. Well, I don't want to know anything about that. No offense to believers, but just not a big fan. Although I will say, people really shouldn't dog him too bad. I mean, he did start on YouTube, just like us here who do these videos, so I can't dog him too bad. The guy got his start from nowhere up to the top. Oh, here's something good. I'm going to just show you, because you can get excited with me. That's Zelda. Can you see? Yeah, I can let the screen focus in on that. That's Link. And the new Zelda, there's going to be like a new Netflix series about Zelda and Link. And it's supposed to be live action, if I'm correct. So that sounds amazing. And Netflix just came to Japan. Like, we're going to start having Netflix. Before, all we had was Hulu. And let me just tell you, Hulu Japan sucks. It's so bad. The only movie selection you have are either movies that they have translated, which are ancient, and you've watched ages ago, or a very, very, very small selection of America's selection of Japanese movies that they've translated into English. Hold on, let me close the door real quick. I gotta close the door because I'm hearing too much. There we go, sorry. Don't mind my kid being in the background, but when it gets to where I can't hear myself talk, then I gotta close the door. So Netflix just came here. It's gonna give Hulu a ton of competition. I think it's gonna give Tsutaya, which is our Blockbuster video, rental video place, a lot of competition, but I don't think it'll shut down Tsutaya because one thing a lot of people don't understand about Japan is that in general, the average Japanese person who tends to be old, because we have a huge gray generation here, as I've just already explained, doesn't know how to use the internet in a way in which to stream a movie or download a movie or rent a movie online. So they're very, very set in their ways of just going to the store and grabbing the movie physically and then putting it into a DVD player. And already you're starting to push the limits of their technical ability. If you're one of the people like me, and I thought this too before I came here, that Japanese people are awesome at using computers, no, 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 no. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. It's totally different. They're, on average, the average Japanese person doesn't know how to do much more than like a spreadsheet on a computer, and that's it. But old people even more so. Like most old people just don't even have computers, and they still have like a flip phone, and they're like, hold on, I'm checking out a website here. So them renting a movie would be pretty rare. So I don't think Netflix is going to shut down Tsutaya, but I am very excited to see that series. I have a lot of hopes for it. Apparently, according to this article that I just saw there, it's going to be comparable to Game of Thrones. That seems weird. Okay, because I'm thinking like Ocarina of Time. How do you say that thing? The little flute thing, you know, like for N64. I mean, that was a pretty kid-friendly, happy-go-lucky game with, you know. But I guess you got Majora's Mask too. That was pretty dark because it's supposed to be like you're dead. So maybe it'll be like this fine line between those two, like kind of the darkest parts of the Hyrule and the lightest parts of Hyrule. I'm getting pretty nerdy here, aren't I? What games am I playing recently, speaking of games? Finishing up Deadly Premonition, the director's cut. Love that game. I think I'm going to have to do my first game review on that. That's another project I have in the works. I'm playing Planet Explorers, which is a great one of those type of survival games where you have to build everything. Well, you can just add me on Steam and find out everything I'm playing. It's Unrested JFAC. That's my name on Steam if you want to add me. I want to thank the one viewer, I can't remember, I think his name on Steam is actually Karoshi. He gave me access to his whole library, and it is just, it's massive. It's like 300 something games, so I've got access to everything. And usually the best thing is when I share a library with someone is I'm up when they're not because of the time zones, you know, Japan Standard Time, and I get to play everything. So I've played quite a bit on Steam, finishing up Deadly Premonition. Oh, I just bought Darkest Dungeons. Darkest Dungeons is a pretty great game. It's kind of Call of Cthulhu meets RPGs. I guess it's kind of like Dungeon Crawl Classics. If you like Darkest Dungeon and you want to play like a pen and paper version of that, you should check out Dungeon Crawl Classics for a pen and paper RPG that you can play that's a lot like that. It's a company that I do a lot of drawings for too, so I don't get any kickback for you buying their products, so I guess I could actually. Yeah, okay. Never mind, don't buy it. Let's see, what else am I playing recently on there? I usually play, my big thing is I play a lot of story-driven games. I either play RPGs that have a heavy story base or just games that are solely story-based, almost 100% completely. Like Deadly Premonition, there's like some shooting in it that's absolutely pointless, pretty much, but it's mostly story-driven. I love a good story in a game. Some of my all-time favorite games are just heavily storied games. Heavy Rain, even though the ending plot twist is a bit confounding, when you think about it and you finally analyze how it came about to that end, you're kind of like, wait, what? What is it called? Beyond Two Souls. I like that one a lot because it's a really, really deep storyline. Deadly Premonition, one of my favorite stories. I like a lot of survival horror, of course. Oh, Darkwood is one I'm playing recently too. That's a survival horror. It's a top-down survival horror, which I don't know how I feel about yet. I haven't played enough of the game to really have an opinion. But that's what I'm up to in my gaming time. I probably, you know what? I could probably answer a lot of questions about my gaming stuff. I never talk about gaming. I think the weird thing about me with gaming is I used to be really hardcore into gaming. Like I used to game quite a few hours a day back when I was single and, you know, just working, and that's all I had to care about was making sure I showed up to a job that was 8 hours and that was it, and pay my rent. Now it's really weird. I probably play a game almost every night at about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I give myself about an hour to 2 hours on a game. But if I play more than that, I start to feel guilty. It's a really weird thing. I guess that's adulthood kicking in. If unless I'm really engrossed and I feel like I'm really getting a lot out of the story, or I'm just really into the characters or whatever, I can't play it for like more than 2 hours, no matter how good it is. I just feel like I'm wasting too much time on something that isn't actually either improving myself or improving my life. And I'm not against video games at all. I love them. You can take a look at my Steam library and know that I love games. But that being said, yeah, I guess I'm reaching a point where they really have to be something I love. Like, for example, I have no patience for first person shooters, and I have nothing against anybody who loves first person shooters, or those, World War II games like Call of Duty, or World at War, which is like the modern version or whatever. I have nothing against those, but I just can't get into that kind of stuff anymore. The last time I really enjoyed a first person shooter was Doom. So you can tell how long ago that was. Yes, I played Quake. I played Rage even, which I really didn't like. That's what I think of when I think of first person shooter. I know they've changed a lot since then. I know I've played them. I even have a few now. I actually have Modern Warfare. But the story in Modern Warfare, I was just like, what the hell is going on, man? I couldn't get into it at all. That being said, I guess. Oh, I also play 3DS a lot. I'm really into DS games because they're perfect for the train in Japan. So I'm playing Fire Emblem on that. Pokemon Omega Ruby, is it called? Omega Ruby. It's red. I don't know. It's the red one. And I'm playing Mario Kart 7. Oh, and A Link Between Worlds, the new Zelda game. I always, for some reason, I like the Zelda Link type games for DS a lot more than I like them for the consoles. I've always liked them a lot more. I don't know why. I even liked Wind Waker and stuff like that for the DS. People hated that boat part. I liked the boat. I liked building my boat and going around in the ocean for long distances and just chilling out. But people are like, screw that. I just, directed the camera and walked away from the screen for a while. I understand. I mean, I can see where people would be super bored with that. Spirit Camera, that was another one I really liked. Here it is right here. Let's see if I can pull it out. No, it's stuck in there, and I'll probably knock over my camera if I pull too hard. Spirit Camera, which is like Fatal Frame for DS. I really liked that, but I really didn't like that you had to have a book to play it, because it felt really weird to play on the train. Like, I'm like taking pictures of stuff that's supposed to be there, but it's not really there. And people on the train think you're like crazy. You're like, oh, look, I'm taking pictures of ghosts. And they're like, sure you are, man, whatever. Anyway, that's a little bit about everything that's going on in my life. I think, I wanted to keep it to about 30 minutes. We're almost there right now. I think we're at about 28 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and just end it about here, because I want to just see how this one pans out. This is my first try at this, just rambling and letting you know what's going on in my life. Let me know what you think about this first one. What part of this rambling type stuff did you want to hear more about? Because honestly, when I started to talk about games there at the end, that's where I started to be like, man, I really want to talk more about games. I'm really passionate about that. Even though I don't play them that much anymore, I want to talk more about that. But I also like talking about the news, and I have people on here who even said, I really wish you hadn't ended J News, which I haven't really ended J News. I've got the J News put into this long rambling things. I guess one thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't talk about is upcoming movies or movies I watch, because I actually watch a lot of movies. My wife and I, when we rent movies, we rent 4 at a time. So I always watch at least 4 movies at a time. And I watch some American TV series too, some that I absolutely hate, but my wife really likes, she likes Grimm. I really don't like Grimm. It's the most boring show ever. Oh my god. Anyway, but there's still, like, one movie I recently watched was The House is October-built, which is a great found footage horror mockumentary. I highly suggest it to any of you who like found footage horror. Like, one of my all-time favorite, of course, which many people probably know about now, is what was that one? They go into the house that's supposed to be haunted, and at first everything is not scary, and then it suddenly gets scary as they go down farther and darker, deeper into this like haunted asylum. It's whatever the name of their ghost show was the name of the documentary, and then there's actually a part 2, and the part 2 is pretty bad. Anyway, I'll talk about that another time. I'll talk about movies on the next one. Maybe that's what it'll be. Next one will be like movies and video games. If that's what you want to hear about, let me know. If this was totally boring and sucked and you don't want to hear it anymore, that's fine too. I'll stop doing it. But that's just me rambling for a while and just talking about things that interest me, what I'm into, what I've been doing recently, which projects I'm working on, and kind of hobbies I have. Until next time, guys, I'm Unrested. Have a good one.